I talked about the box art of the Oddworld games, and I thought I'd want to focus much deeper on the CD art for the Oddworld games. And I want to start with Apes Odyssey. The first one we have here is the European version of Apes Odyssey for PlayStation 1. And we can see that this CD here is based off the Scrapanian line. But when I look at it right now, I don't seem to recognize that layer. Like, I don't seem to remember there was any layer where there was three wells, one here and two in the background. Because when I notice this right now, I I believe this is some kind of an unused um, background that was never used in the final game, but ended up as the official CD art for the final release of Apes Odyssey. And that's not the only kind of unused stuff that we see for the retail, because if we if we take a look at the cover itself, we can see that there's a pyramid seen in Stockyard, and we know that there's Scrapanias seen at the beginning of Stockyard, not pyramid. And somehow this beta image end up being in the final release of Apes Odyssey. So I assume this is the same thing with the CD here as well. Now, here I have the US version of Apes Odyssey for PlayStation 1, and as you can see, it's the same, but if you compare it, you can see that the US version is much more shiny, like with the text right here, and like with the age marking and PlayStation logo. Well, the only difference you can obviously tell is that there's no colors on the PlayStation logo, whereas the European version it has. And also, you can see that the contrast of the European version is like much higher compared to the US version, where like the color seems to be like more brighter. If that's the appropriate word. And also, you can see like the copyright, like the text here, and it's not even here. But here's the difference between the European version and the US version. And I also have the CD for the PC version of Apes Odyssey. And as you can see, this one is totally different from the PlayStation 1 version, as this one is straight up a like a render artwork of Rapture Farm itself as seen in the intro, whereas this one is supposedly seen as something from in-game itself. Yeah, you can see that they're absolutely different. And yeah, that was the CD art for Apes Odyssey. Now let's move on to Apes Exodus. Apes Exodus is actually a little bit more interesting, as there's plenty of more stuff to talk about. So here I have the CD art for the PlayStation 1 version, European obviously. And here is disc 1, and this one has a more of a green palette on it, where we see one of them, we're ducking, drinking Soulstone Brew. And disc 2 has a purple palette, where we see three weirdos on it. However, I do also have the European version of the PC version of Apes Exodus. And as you can see, the art is the same, but the color palette is different. Also, they also come with two discs, but it's not like you have to switch between them, because the PC version is functions differently This one is to install the game, and this one is to play the game. Yeah, PC games will function differently back then. So for the install disc, it's the same one as disc one for Ape 6 for PlayStation 1, but instead, the palette is light blue instead. And for the play disc, it's the same one as disc 2, as you can see, but it has pink palette instead. Yeah, okay, I don't really know why they would go with different color palette, but okay, I guess it makes it unique. And I do also have the US version of the PC version of Apes Exodus. And this one is a lot simple. They're both the same, they have the same art, but they're completely different from the European version. And we can see that it has that orange yellow palette on it, like showing like the brew. You'll definitely know that. Here's one for the install, and here's the one for to play the game itself. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the US version of the PlayStation 1 version, but thankfully, there's pictures of it on the internet, so I can show it that ways. So here I have a picture of the US version of Ape 6 for PlayStation 1, and as you can see, it's the exact same as the PC version, like the US version of the PC version. But I don't know if you can see this on the image itself. It's actually more shiny, like very similar to the US version of Abe's Odyssey for PlayStation 1. But somehow I can see this one is way more shiny. Like the whole CD is shiny compared to the European version. Man, why? Like, why do we Europeans not get that treatment? That's so unfair. Seriously. Yeah, that's all I had for Apes Exodus. I'm pretty sure there's more CD art of Apes Exodus, but from a different region. But I can't really seem to find any info on them or any images. But anyway, let's move on to Munch's Odyssey for Xbox. And this one is much more simple. It's just Abe and Munch, and that's it. And I don't really know what the background is supposed to be. But yeah, it's such a simple CD art. And I believe the US version is the exact same. So there's no regional difference. They didn't really receive any kind of a special art treatment like Abe's Odyssey and Abe's Exodus, so they went on something simple and straightforward. And the same thing can also be said with Stranger's Wrath, as this art here, I'm pretty sure this was taken directly from the the cover art itself. Although I'm not really sure, because when I look at it, I can't really seem to find the exact same image. Although it kinda looks like it's this one, but it's just mirrored. But you can see that his mouth is open over here. So I'm not really sure if it's the same one or it's just two different arts. But yeah, it also got like a very simple treatment, like Munch's Odyssey. Moving on to New and Tasty. Unfortunately, I do not have any physical copies of Oddworld New Tasty, except for Nintendo Switch, but that's not really a CD. But thankfully, there's again images I can show on the internet. And hey, come on. Yeah, so here is the CD art for Oddworld New Tasty for PS4, and this one it basically used the same background as a cover art itself. I mean, you can even see they use the same rendered image of Ape as well from the cover up. It's just mirrored. But strangely enough, they did not include the logo of New and Tasty for some reason. Like that's a strange decision. Like it's a very typical thing that you include the logo of your game in the CD itself. And I also had to make sure if the CD art for PS3 is the same, and yes, it is. It's the exact same. So not really any big difference. And moving on to Soulstorm. Yeah, Soulstorm's art is very simple. At least they included the logo of the game itself, but we do not see any characters here, not even Ape himself. All we see is the background of Soulstorm Brewery, and that's it. It's it's that simple, but okay, it looks great, but yeah, it was something much more simple. So yeah, I guess that was all the CD art for the Oddworld games. I'm sure there's more different CD arts of this. I think one of the interesting one is Ape's Exodus, mostly due to the fact that there's different CD arts of the games because of different regions. And like I said, there's more CD art from different regions as well. But if you know any of them, please tell me. I'd like to know this. So that's all I had to show to you. Bye.